Of the current 39 survivors that exist in Dead by Daylight, all of them have some sense of sadness to the backstories and lore, but 3 survivors really stuck out to me when researching their backgrounds. So in this video, we will expand on why these 3 characters have the saddest lore of all the survivors. Starting off with Meg Thomas, Meg's backstory is undeniably a mix of triumph and tragedy. On the surface, she's the high school star, a talented athlete with a bright future ahead. However, the layers of sadness unfold as we delve deeper into her narrative. Meg's childhood is marked by her father's abandonment, leaving her mother to raise her alone. Despite excelling in school, Meg's rebellious nature threatens to take her down a troubled path. Fortunately, an athletics coach recognizes her potential and guides her towards a positive outlet, running. This redirection leads Meg to become a high school star, earning a college scholarship. But the real tragedy strikes when Meg decides to give up her college dreams to care for her ailing mother. In a display of love and sacrifice, Meg puts her own aspirations on hold to support the woman who raised her. This selflessness is a testament to the depth of Meg's character. Meg's journey takes a darker turn when she faces betrayal from one of her own teammates. Subjected to a dangerous initiation, she becomes the target of a potentially life-threatening prank. The assault leaves her with a fractured foot, jeopardizing her athletic future. The emotional toll of this incident is exacerbated by Meg's realization that her teammates, especially Dana, may have orchestrated the attack out of jealousy. The support from her mother becomes a source of strength for Meg. However, the bittersweet reality surfaces. Her mother's days are numbered due to a mysterious illness. In this poignant moment, Meg receives a black dress as a symbol of her mother's belief in her strength and resilience. The impending loss of her mother looms over Meg, adding a layer of sadness to her journey. The most heart-wrenching twist occurs when Meg mysteriously disappears during a run in the woods. Despite extensive searches, her body is never found. This unresolved disappearance adds a layer of sorrow to Meg's story, leaving her fate hanging in the balance. Meg's story is marked by sacrifice, betrayal, and the looming uncertainty of her own fate. The unresolved disappearance, coupled with the impending loss of her mother, creates a narrative that tugs at the heartstrings. The juxtaposition of athletic success with personal tragedy makes Meg Thomas's backstory a compelling and sorrowful tale in the Dead by Daylight universe. Up next, we have the iconic Left 4 Dead character William Bill Overbeck. Bill Overbeck's backstory is a testament to the resilience of a seasoned soldier thrust into a post-apocalyptic nightmare. The narrative begins with Bill, an old soldier with a plethora of war stories, finding himself in a world turned upside down after a routine surgery. The initial shock and confusion set the stage for a gripping tale of survival. The story continues as Bill wakes up, disorientated and grappling with the surreal reality of a world overrun by the infected. The vivid descriptions of the burning city, the reek of burning civilization, and the echoes of chaos paint a grim picture of the new norm. Bill's journey intertwines with other survivors, including Zoe and Francis, creating a dynamic group of ragtag companions. The narrative skillfully weaves moments of tension, camaraderie, and dark humor. Bill's interactions with his newfound companions, especially the banter with Francis, provides glimpses into the complexities of their relationships amid the apocalypse. The survivalists they encounter add an extra layer of intrigue, introducing the concept of safe houses as checkpoints in the post-apocalyptic landscape. Add in the revelation that Bill and his companions are asymptomatic carriers of the flu, immune but potential spreaders, and this adds a moral dilemma to their survival. Bill grapples with the unintended consequences of their immunity, reflecting on the impact that they may have on others. Throughout the story, Bill's character is portrayed with a mix of grizzled determination, veteran wisdom, and a touch of nostalgia for the thrill of combat. His internal monologues and interactions with the diverse group of survivors create a rich narrative tapestry. The tale ends with the survivors navigating the treacherous cityscape, fighting off hordes of infected. Bill's gruff acknowledgement of missing the chaos hints at the complex relationship he has with the horrors of the outbreak. The story leaves readers with a sense of anticipation for the challenges ahead and the resilience of Bill Overbeck in the face of an unforgiving world. Having weathered the storm for 2 tours in Vietnam, Bill is no stranger to critical situations. His tough-as-nails demeanor and determination to help others survive showcase the essence of his character. However, Bill's journey takes a significant turn when he sacrifices himself to ensure the safety of his fellow survivors during the outbreak. His body is never found, and Bill is left for dead, an unsung hero lost in the chaos. To me, this story is particularly sad, as Bill has been through it all and finally deserves to be at peace and die on his own terms. This obviously doesn't happen, and he is dragged to the entity's world to basically relive all of the horror and chaos once again, after accepting his own fate and coming to peace with it, only to have it taken away and replaced with this nightmare. Now, after hearing the other 2 backstories, you may find my number 1 choice to be a bit odd, but give me a chance and I'll explain. Dwight Fairfield's story is not that of a hero or a college athlete sacrificing their dreams to care for a loved one. If anything, it's the complete opposite. Dwight Fairfield's backstory unfolds as a tale of an ordinary man caught in the web of a narcissistic and an abusive employer. His journey journey begins with aspirations of fitting in and being part of the cool kids, but takes a dark turn when he becomes an unwitting participant in the manipulative games of Lazar, the CEO of Peak 22. Dwight's experiences in high school, characterized by rejection and a desperate desire to belong, foreshadow his later struggles in the corporate world. The narrative skillfully captures his vulnerability, portraying him as the antithesis of the stereotypical survivor. Despite lacking charisma and physical prowess, Dwight's survival instincts and ability to navigate dangers honed during his high school years become his defining traits. The introduction of Dwight into the world of Peak 22 paints a vivid picture of an eccentric and delusional CEO. The term story hook becomes a symbol of Lazar's grandiosity, a contrived concept used to elevate his perceived uniqueness. The absurdity of Lazar's ideas and the mockery within the company reveal the dysfunction at its core. As Dwight maneuvers through his role as a story hook supervisor, the narrative takes a darker turn with the unjust treatment of Rose, his friend and colleague. The revelation of Lazar's pattern of discrediting and scapegoating employees sheds light on the toxic culture within Peak 22. Dwight becomes an unwilling witness to the abuse, torn between his own financial needs and the moral implications of his actions. The story skillfully weaves elements of humor and absurdity, especially in recounting Lazar's outlandish ideas and the collective mockery of the ex-employees during their yearly roast. Dwight's internal conflict and his growing realization of the injustice within Peak 22 add depth to his character. The narrative's climax revolves around Dwight's decision to retaliate against Lazar using a laughing drug, seeking a form of poetic justice for the abuses that he witnessed. The tension and moral dilemma faced by Dwight create a compelling turning point in the story, raising questions about the consequences of revenge and the fine line between justice and harm. One weekend, on a team building exercise from his dead-end job, Dwight's boss led them deep into the woods before breaking out his family recipe moonshine. Dwight remembered taking the first sip before waking up late the next morning all alone. During the night, the others had completely abandoned him. Once again, the laughingstock of the community, Dwight, tried to hike his way out of the woods, but this was the last anyone ever heard of Dwight Fairfield. Dwight Fairfield's story carries a distinct sense of sadness that sets it apart from Meg's and William's narratives. While Meg and Bill face their own challenges and hardships, Dwight's experience of betrayal and abandonment by those he believed were his allies contributes to a unique and sad part of his story. This betrayal by the very people he thought he could trust amplifies the sadness in his backstory. Unlike Meg and Bill, who face external threats, Dwight's pain is deeply personal, stemming from a breach of trust within his supposed support system. Meg's story revolves around her pursuit of independence and overcoming societal expectations. Meg's journey is more about self-discovery and empowerment. In contrast, Dwight's sadness is rooted in the emotional toil of betrayal and the shattering of the camaraderie that he longed for. Whereas Bill's story is marked by sacrifice and resilience during the Vietnam War and the outbreak of a zombie apocalypse. While he endures physical and emotional hardships, the sadness in his story is more external, tied to the broader context of war and survival. Dwight's sadness, on the other hand, is intimate and interpersonal, arising from the cruelty of those he thought were friends. Do you agree with this list? Do you think any other survivor should be ranked in the top 3? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you've made it this far, you might as well go check out this video where I discuss who I think is the most accurate DBD killer to their franchise lore.